Hello all, I'm Omkar, host of Engineering Talks. Hope you are doing well and enjoying our Engineering Talks series. For today's fifth episode, we have amazing personality on the board and the first mechanical engineer to be a part of this Engineering Talks series. I'm talking about Mr. Harit Naik. About Harit sir. Harit sir is basically from Navsari, Gujarat. He completed his bachelor's from NIT Surat in 1997. After his bachelor's from NIT, he went to IIT Bombay for his master's. After completion of master's in mechanical, he started his first job in L&T as a post-graduation engineer trainee. After that, he also worked with Halliburton, and now he's working with Mcdermott International as a global director, innovation and knowledge management, and also heading the team of process design and engineering. And talking more about the Haris sir is living life on two mottos. Go beyond is the first one, and second one is dream early and dream big. You will get this in our today's episode, that how Haris sir transformed from these two mottos of life. So Haris sir, from working in L&T as a postgraduate engineer trainee, and now working with McDermott as a global director. How was the journey and what are the plan ahead?
Thanks, Omkar. Thanks for bringing me on board, and it's pleasure to interact with you and many other who will watch the video. So, since you mentioned in my introduction, I am the first mechanical engineer for engineering talks, and
Yes.
I must say that I am also you are also the first one with whom I am giving this kind of video interview. I would say I had various talks in seminar, conference, and also I had written various articles, but this is the first time, so it's a learning for me as well. And the journey is simple. It's a learning every day. The Although you mentioned very nicely two big motto about go beyond and dream big, but the third one is keep it simple. So the simple thing is what I am looking for. The journey itself is to simplify whatever we do, and at the same time, in terms of everything that we do around us, is always encouraging to us. So the journey that I have gone through so far, it's really amazing. Not because it's my journey, because God has given me this journey. I'm a very religious person. Although my name is Harit, and that meaning is green, but I'm really nature lover person, and nature is what the definition of God in my mind. That's where I say a journey gives us a lot of beautiful learning as well as a lot of beautiful challenges that will help us to make ourselves shape ourselves better. So to give a little bit more detail about how exactly I started, I was also thinking, what exactly I should say if Omkar will ask me to introduce myself, because I was not sure how exactly you want to have the introduction. So I thought, okay, let me think over how exactly I should introduce myself, because I've seen various people have done different introduction on your engineering talks. So I think if I start with my general, or to summarize to know me better, I would say I'm fortunate enough, again with God wishes. I lived in three continents. I lived in six different countries. I moved in 17 different houses, because I also see this as a part of journey starting from my childhood till now. I also lived in multiple states in India. I also worked with 47 nationalities so far.
Yeah, the
I also work.
flexibility.
Yeah, flexibility. So that's why it's like go beyond, in the sense, if something comes on our way, then I'm not afraid of taking challenge. That's why I say go beyond is my motto, because I do not know what is my total capability. I see that the way God gives me a challenge, I need to play accordingly. Somehow I don't see, even this as a challenge because again it backs to the root that I have in my nature, that everything is a part of our karma. So we are born to have our karma, and you need to do your best. So that way I just say I work with different manager also, different diverse manager as well, 8 9 different diverse manager, different personality. I've also come across many people who always work with one manager and grow in the multiple level in the company, which is good. I'm not denying on that front, but I rather, as I say, work with different people so that you will always get to learn in a different aspect. Similarly, when you also work in a one company, but you keep changing your role time to time, that gives different satisfaction, that gives different motivation, and also gives some different challenges go ahead. I worked in three different domains of oil and gas. Although I'm always in oil and gas, I'm passionate mechanical engineer. I love engineering. I also love oil and gas domain. With respect to all other domain like aerospace, uh, automobile, they are all respectful industry domain. But oil and gas is also very challenging and very encouraging domain. I also, lucky enough to manage different discipline team, whether it's a mechanical, whether it's a production, whether it's a metallurgy, whether it's a software team, or whether it's a currently I'm as I say managing a process engineer team like you. And the process engineers are one of the, I would say, best and tough to manage. So definitely it's a different challenge. Also, I manage health, safety, and environment engineer. I manage, sustainability nowadays is a trend, so I manage that as well. So it's a different thing, and actually, I learned a lesson that variety is a spice of life. So that's where this gives me a different spice all the time and makes me motivated. So that's probably the, yeah, I would say, simplified introduction that I could talk about myself, and I can explain about my journey so far.
Great. So, how was the feeling of being a director of Mcdermott International?
That's a good question. What kind of feeling? Obviously, it's a satisfactory. Once you do your job to a certain level, you will definitely, and if it is recognized, then you will feel satisfactory. But my honest answer is, I'm not fond of title. I'm more keen about the responsibility and accountability. So
Correct.
in that sense, as I say, I enjoy from the day I joined L&T as a PGET, because I remember my first manager, Mr. Venkatesh, who gave me a different responsibility and accountability at that time to design, specialized heat exchanger, to come up with a calculation for flow induced vibration. These are what I could think how I started my journey. So from that day also I enjoyed it, and today also I'm enjoying it. The little difference is now I can also influence the decision because you are at a certain level. At the time, I had to follow the decision that has been made. Now I can influence, so I have more authority and more, how do I say, I don't use the power word, but I have more encouragement to change something to make it simple and make it better.
Right.
So that's kind of, feels
Well,
happiness, that okay, what is there in PGET, postgraduate engineering training, versus director of innovation. So that's the difference.
yes. Uh, how is the life in Netherlands? Which one is simpler, India, Netherlands, or other countries you live?
Living life. Actually, that's also a good point. So by nationality, I am UK citizen. So I keep telling people that India is my Janma Bhumi. India is my Matrubhumi. No doubt about it. UK is my Karma Bhumi, and Netherlands is my Sthai Bhumi, where I am staying right now. So every country has their plus and minus, and everything has some charm. So although you are out of India for many years, definitely you are in touch with India, you are in touch with Indian friend. Uh, in that sense, definitely India has many good things. I keep telling a lot of people here that India is like a mini Europe. So we have different state, we have different culture, we have different food, we have different style of celebrating festival. Although it's the same festival, but celebration is different. And I being a Gujarati, we are celebration people. So we have a lot of celebration. We can dance for 9 days in Navratri. So that's kind of Gujarati people we are. So in that sense, it's always there is a charm in India, but there are many good things that you can learn in different countries. And when people ask me that how do you feel India or Singapore or UK or Netherlands, I said everything if you scale it. So when I lived in US, whether it's your house or whether it's your store or whether it's a parking area, especially in Texas, is 10 times bigger, wider. If you compare that with the same Singapore, is everything is compressed and 10 times taller because Singapore doesn't have a space. So UK is little bit in between because UK has a different kind of space, at least relatively bigger
Right.
geographical area compared to Singapore. Netherlands is again a smaller geographical area compared to UK. India has a bigger, Texas is even bigger. So now in terms of facility, infrastructure, everything that you get in India, which you get in rest of the world. So there is no
Right.
difference in that. It just matter of how broad you want
Emotion.
versus how tall you want.
Right. What are the things in life that you learned hard way and that you won't forget it?
So, so the one thing I must tell you, Omkar, and whoever will listen to my uh, this recording or podcast, uh, there is nothing kind of hard way of learning. There is always learning is a beautiful thing to have it. In terms of learning, also one of the thing which I learned about learning is you cannot learn anything for free. You need to sacrifice something to learn something.
Right.
Second part is knowledge cannot comes on a cell. So that's where I say I do not consider as a part of any learning. If you consider learning as your journey, then learning is not hard at all, and it's not hard way of learning. Yes, sometime God puts us in a different challenges, and we are all Indian. We are cricket loving people, So it is as good as you need to play your shots the way you get the ball. If you decide that no, on this ball I wanted to hit six, it's not going to happen
Yes.
because the bowler can put the swimmer or also you can put the slow pacer, and you may get out if you decide it. That's why it is as good as learning the challenge. It's almost it's there is somebody superpower sitting on the top will
Mm.
keep changing the ball, and you need to play accordingly, and you need to keep learning from your experience, and that will definitely make you happy one day because you see that you get to see a different learning.
Right.
Just one more point I wanted to add when you mentioned about learning. So why in my introduction I was thinking yesterday how to introduce myself when I say I changed 17 house so far. Uh, uh, why do I consider this as a part of my introduction? Why? Because it's a learning. Every
Yes.
time you go to different house, you need to change the way the you need to convert that house into home because those two are different aspects. Then
You
to
have to
make
adapt culture.
absolutely, then the way you arrange your furniture, the way you arrange your well-being, everything within that house to make it home, it's also a different way. So it's a learning,
Right.
and to move somewhere, to move house from within Gujarat, from let's say my hometown Billimora to Surat is different versus when I move from Surat to Pune is different versus when I
Yes.
move from Pune to US is different. So within the country, within the state is also different. International change is completely different. So it's a learning, and I really enjoy learning every aspect of learning, I would say.
Right.
So I won't
That
call it as a hard learning. It's a learning in a nice way, and that makes us hard, in fact.
my next question is little bit different from this. Do you give importance to vertical growth or multi-dimensional growth?
Oh, in terms of the professional leader, okay. So let me tell you first thing is both growth are very, very good, very good. I say sometime when I think my journey back, yeah, I always got an opportunity to go for horizontal growth
Hmm.
because I maintained myself within oil and gas, but I keep changing the role. It's different. When I moved from L&T to let's say Halliburton, it was completely different role. It has nothing to do with my previous role. Similarly, when I moved from Halliburton to Mcdermott, again it's completely changed. His first role has no link with the second role. So I got an opportunity to be in a different horizontal way, but sometimes I feel that I'm kind of a jack of all, master of none. Uh, on other aspect, if you stay within your same domain and you grow yourself, then you can become a subject matter expert. Now, as an industry, do we need one of them? No, we need both of them. Why? Because when you go with horizontal growth, you bring different perspective. When you go into the vertical growth, you feel that you have absolutely depth of the knowledge. So that
Yes.
way you can bring that kind of difference. What I
In
suggest based on the question that you asked me, I would suggest that no matter whether you go for vertical growth, vertical line or horizontal line, I think do your best. I sometimes people when ask me, I said, "What's your one key of everything that you one key of success?" They ask. I don't feel it's a success, but yeah, one key of the growth. And I always say that always like what you do and definitely do something that you like. Don't don't do anything which you don't like. But once you start doing it, start loving it. Whether it's my new role, it was out of the blue came to me, my current new role, additional role, I would say. I never had any dream, neither probably 10 minutes ago when I started discussion, that person who proposed me, that person did not even had the thought of making me in this. But something came to me, and then I said, okay, this is something interesting. Let me do my best. Let me start loving that part so that I can deliver to the best of my ability. So to summarize, do something that you like, and whatever you do, start fall in love with that.
it. Tell me about something lesson learned in life that completely change your perspective about the career or living the life.
Oh, lesson learned in the life. Okay, so when I say lesson learned in the life, so there are two ways, personal lesson learned versus professional lesson learned. So
One more sentence to add that lesson learned in the organization are the part of the assets of the organization. Like so,
so
personal lesson learned also the asset of yours.
for my personal part, so one of the thing which I could remember when I was in Halliburton, I can definitely name that when I was in Halliburton, I was in Halliburton pool at the time, and there was some discussion happened without going into detail, without disclosing certain information about that. So there was a decision, or there was some discussion, I would say, it started, and I say, okay, the strategically it was a completely change. Then then I myself prepare a plan for my whole team, and my boss at that time, his name is Vimal Shah, and I have huge respect for him even today. So when I put forward the plan at that time, he told me that I'm pleased to see that in your plan you yourself has put in a such a way that you are resigning, or you are giving up your role and taking the new things for the team. So that means the plan that you need to prepare, which you know that you are also not going to be part of it, but you need to prepare that plan.
Yes.
So that actually was my best learning, and that when I say best learning in terms of that, if I can handle that kind of a situation, then I think all other situations are always within that manageable criteria. So we had to move. I can tell you a little bit more. We had to move the whole team from Pune to Singapore or to some other part of the world, and something like that. So in oil and gas, it's always ups and down, ups and down. So that way, that learning helped me in Mcdermott, because when I was in Mcdermott in London, back in 2015 when the downturn started, similar situation, similar situation, but I was very much relaxed at the time, and I was very much prepared because that learning helped me. And I had to, make sure that how the team is there. And I was actually at that time also supposed to move from London to Houston, which, fortunately did not happen. But all those various options that I had to prepare, and I could confidently and I could, thoughtfully prepare that. Why? Because that learning I already had, few years ago.
Yes. Next question is, have you ever got involved in office politics or trapped in office politics, and how do you kept yourself out of it, and how do you grow out of it?
So, okay, so I know people always say that corporate politics, and there was also a very famous, Madhur Bhandarkar movie was there, the corporate and all. They talks about corporate politics, but let me tell you honestly, I'm also a big follower of Indian politics. I do follow regularly what's happening on Indian politics aside, or even the UK politics. But I think let's not degrade the corporate move by a word called politics, because the fundamental is wherever we are, and you may sound or other may sound like, okay, I'm giving a philosophical answer, but this is actually a real thing, because every one of us sell ourselves, whether you are as a junior engineer or a senior engineer, or in a management position, you always need to sell ourselves.
Yes.
So for to sell ourselves, we always do some steps that will be not acceptable by others.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean that you are playing politics. You are probably a better seller. If you might have come across, Omkar, that many subject matter experts are in their own world, but they know how to crack the problem. But eventually, they also know that if they need to grow in the career, then they need to sell. They should be able to communicate how the problem they are solving it. So you need to communicate how you want to sell yourself, because everyone, no matter in which role you are, no matter in which profession you are, whether it's in engineering or non-engineering, even the normal shopkeeper, even the normal, if you visit any places, that person needs to be selling something and present yourself in a better way. It's not a politics, uh, and that's why there is also kind of a dirty politics. So that's why it's not. We don't want to go in that part. And how I kept myself, yes, I also had to face some kind of this preference, because I can definitely share with you in Halliburton, during that phase of the life for changing the strategy, etc., etc., because some other person has not alignment with my superior, and that's why I was also brought into this notice, although I was not directly involved. But because of their own preference, because of their own you know wish, I was put in really odd situation. At that time, uh, I'll be honest, at that time I was upset that okay, why this was made. And I knew, because I was victim of that movement. I would not call it the politics, but victim of that corporate change movement,
Hmm.
only and only because in the previous year I was given a highest performance rating in Halliburton, and we used to call as SP, that means superior performance. That's 5 out of 5. And in Halliburton, there was a say that unless and until you donate your kidney, you will not get SP, because that's the once in a lifetime. So I got it because I made certain changes. I built the team within few months, all those things, and I got it. But because of that, somebody got jealous, somebody's emotion or somebody plan got hurt, and that hampered me. But the good part is, I must thank that because of that person, I moved out of India and moved from Pune to Singapore, and that changed my life completely. So when I look at this, I just say, that person, I will not also not say he or she, but that person was just the nimit of our karma, and that person was instrumental to kick me out on that position. Probably if I would not have been at that, I would have still been, in Halliburton Pune and doing the same role. But that push helped me, and now I'm in a different part. So I
Correct.
must thank that, activity also. Although at that time I thought it was part of this corporate change, but now when I think it's again, it's indication from the God, and that everything worked for me. So I would suggest any new engineer, or a bright chap who wants to grow the career, don't feel that this is kind of politics or anything. It's not a nice word. You are in the corporate, you need to present yourself, you need to communicate in a such a way, and you need to sell yourself to an
Right.
extent without hampering others. You don't I keep you talk about the vertical line and horizontal line. So I keep telling people that increase your line horizontally or vertically, but increase your line, not reduce somebody else's line, to
Yes.
show that you are bigger. So
Mhm.
that also I learned back in L&D, and somebody explained to me there are two lines, and how can I show my line is bigger? Either I can erase somebody else's line and make it half, or I can increase my own line. So I would suggest, although it is it is little longer or a tougher journey, but the second option to increase your line is always useful. Right now, also I remember one very nice and very famous dialogue. I'm, by the way, the Bollywood movie lover, and I watch all the movies, no matter how bad or good they are. So there is very famous dialogue in DDLJ, Dilwane Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, when Shahrukh Khan was having a discussion with Farida Jalal, after he moved back to India, and after this particular, song, Tujhe Dekha To Ye Jana Sanam, after that scene, when he was explaining his wish to Farida Jalal that I can also, run away with Kajol right away. I can, मैं सिमरन को भगा के ले जा सकता हूँ अभी, but वो easy है मेरे लिए. But the
Mhm.
tough part is I need to convince them. So yes, to increase your line, because he was actually following to increase his line. His impression first line was horrible because of his first incident with Amrish Puri. So, but that if you look at in different perspective, then the path is little tough, path is little strong, and also will have challenge, but it will give you a real satisfaction.
Right.
So that's how also I connect, a lot of things with my watching the movies and applying into the professional life.
But tell me something that when someone junior from yours taught you something that you never expected about life or anything.
Oh, so so why okay, so we don't follow the age discrimination, right? So because I live in Europe, so we are very much concerned about discrimination. So we are not putting age discrimination. So that's why I do not consider junior or senior. So everybody teach me, and honestly, not to praise you, Omkar, but right now, or also during some previous discussion, you also taught me something.
Yes.
which you might have done it in a different way, which I
Mm.
feel that okay, it's right or wrong. So in that aspect, uh, I have huge respect about everybody who taught me something, starting from my primary school teacher, or my latest mentor, or my supervisor right now. I respect everybody, but at the same time, I would also say that there is an opportunity for learning if you see a people around you. So who gives me always a challenge on learning? There are three individuals who are actually around me. Number one is my wife, who always encourage me to look for different perspective. Number two, my son, who is turning 20 in this December. But I must say that I openly discuss and exchange various things with him, and sometimes he also gave me some learning which I never imagined, and that exactly helped me. And obviously, my I would say the strotra of all those teaching is my parents, my mom and my dad. So with my mom and my dad, also I discuss many scenario that with my dad I discuss everything about corporate world without giving name, that this has happened, this is how I'm planning to do, etc etc. With my mom I always discuss all those personal things, that this is the scenario, instead of this scenario, probably I would have handled in a better way. Sometime I must say that one day, with very proud, I told my mom that you may be feeling that your son is doing great, but I may tell you that sometimes I feel that my son is even better than your son.
Right.
So and she was little bit, I would not say shocked, happy and encouraged. And it's like, okay, why exactly you want to have it like this? So I gave certain example that this is what he taught me, and I feel that okay, that something is really interesting. So again, you may sound like it's a philosophical answer, but you will have an opportunity to learn from everybody around you. Please do not consider how any junior can teach me or make me learn. Don't feel in that direction. Uh, you will always have an opportunity. You can learn from your younger brother, younger sister. I have actually some of my friends are 20 years elder than me, and at the same time, as I say, my son is my best friend. So and my son's friends are also very good friend of mine. So they are also my friend. That way also it is, as I say, it's a different learning, different generation. So it's a different perspective, and you will have always need to balance.
How do you balance that work-life balance stuff?
I told you, right, that I watch movies all the time. So how do I balance in terms of? So I believe in work-life balance, and you might have also seen. Obviously, you have seen my LinkedIn post. So uh, on LinkedIn, not simply don't forward the message. I share what I believe. Uh,
Right.
People may like, people may not like, and I always emphasize more thing on work-life balance because that's one of the most important thing to have it. So how do I do it? Yes, if you are in India, you will have a maid and a support everywhere. एक bulb भी change करना है इंडिया में, then you can call electrician. That person will come and change the fitting. यहाँ पे सब कुछ खुद से करना है. So I keep telling people that यहाँ पे झाड़ू पोछा बर्तन सभी एक ही बाई करती है, वो मैं हूँ. So you need to do everything by yourself. In that aspect, I try to see that something that I am actually preparing or working on it. Let's say when you told me that today you are going to have this interview. So yesterday when I was doing my vacuum cleaning, at that time I was thinking how I should have my introduction, what exactly I can plan, and I had my thought process ongoing, doing my
Work.
other working as well. because I know when I will go for my family time, then I will not discuss those aspects. So I do enjoy watching movie, but I also try to connect. If something is there which I like it, I make a note. So that
Right.
way it is easy. I don't differentiate those two things. It's part of our life. It's all together. You cannot live without each other. Work and your personal thing, you cannot live. Probably I already set up one upcoming post on LinkedIn
Mm.
about having a happiness. So you need to balance work. You also need to balance, health and wealth, and you also need to balance between family and friend. So all
Correct.
those things needs to be in equilibrium. If you try to have it together, then it's a real nice thing. So right now, on a Saturday, we are talking and we are recording this. So this may be, also professional thing, but in the evening I will have fun time with my friends. So you can balance it out.
Correct. In Netherlands, do you miss the Indian food? Which you miss the most?
Oh, the Indian food. Yeah, I'm a vegetarian. I am. I don't have any alcohol habit, no smoking, nothing. So the only nasha that I have is about the Indian food. A very close friend of mine, who is a French guy. So French people believe that they are the best chef in the world because the French cuisine is they consider as is one of the prime thing. And I always have a debate with him because whenever he visit in London or here, whenever he visit, he's my friend as well as my colleague. So whenever he visit, he always come to my home and have a dinner because he loves Indian food as well. And one day when he came in, my mom was here, and I said, Today you are going to get the best food ever." And then he was asking why exactly. I said, "Mom's food is always the best food." So Indian food is a mother food, so it's always best. Obviously, as I say, we make Indian food regularly, but whenever there is a preference comes, I always go with the Indian food. However, when I go uh, within India, I also make, for an example, when I visit different offices within India, whether it's a Pune office or Chennai office or Gurgaon office, I always tell them that please do not bring any continental food for me. Neither please do not bring, a typical North Indian dish also. So when I go to Chennai, I would like to go to a typical, South Indian dishes, not even South Indian, but typical Tamilian dishes. When I go to other part of the South India, go to Bangalore or go to Hyderabad, then I would like to go and taste that food. Similarly, when I go to Pune, I like to test that local food. Obviously, Gujarati vegetarian food is my favorite
Mm.
because that's there in my blood. But India has a lot of variety. Similarly, when I go and visit other part of
Especially
the
Gujarat.
country, yeah, it's Gujarati. So, but if I go and visit other part of world in a different country, then I don't look for Indian food. I look for what is the local. Let's say if I, go to somewhere in Netherlands, then you go with different types of sandwich rather than look for Indian food
Yes.
because that will give that local flavor.
Correct.
So, in terms of missing anything, uh, yeah, I love Indian food, but I don't miss that kind of how do you say? I need to have Indian food regularly. Whenever I see some need, then I have a lovely wife who will prepare. So I'm lucky enough. I don't cook anything. I'm really dumb in making the food, but I love eating food and different type of local traditional vegetarian food.
Right. Just being a curious mind, I want to ask that what's your next 10 years plan?
Next 10-year plans. Oh, remember I mentioned during my stay or during my explanation that we are cricket lover. And we all know that after Corona, the professional things have completely changed. Completely changed the way we work, and it's not just hybrid working, but it is also various way it's going to be hybrid. So in current scenario, the the life is so fast that 10-year plan is too long. That's what I believe, and that's why I said that we play cricket. We will play as we get the ball. So my inner wish, long term wish, I would say, not 2 year, 10-year, 20-year. I'm not putting. My inner wish is I wanted to do something that makes me smile and do something so that I can bring somebody a smile on somebody else's face. Whether it's providing an employment, whether it's providing a job opportunity, whether it's providing some kind of education opportunity, whether it's providing some kind of a donation so that somebody will do some benefit out of it, or providing some general help, providing the guidance. Yesterday I got a call from a student who connected me on LinkedIn. I don't know him, but he studies in UK, and he said, yeah, I want to talk to him. I said, fine. One of the reason is his name is same as my son name. So I said, okay, I don't want to say no to him. I did not tell him that because of the reason. I said, okay, fine. He is in UK and he wants to ask about certain career guidance. I had no clue about uh, his background, no connection at all. But still, I talked to him yesterday, 10-15 minutes of a call, and I gave my honest opinion. So that makes me happy. I don't know about how he will feel, but that makes me happy. And if somewhere, if my guidance will help him, then he will definitely remember, and he will definitely, it will bring a smile on his face as well.
What will you advise yourself in younger version, the one who is in engineering days?
Oh, okay. So I was very aggressive when I was young. Uh, uh, my suggestion to them is, yeah, life is beautiful. Life is long. It's not that everything you are not going to get, uh, you know,
At-
overnight. I keep explaining to even the team that you you have 35 years of career, and with 35 years of career, you can peacefully retire. If you do the simple math, you have your total lifespan is 80 plus is definitely tough. And out of that, if you say if you start at 25 years of career and 35 up to 60, you can work. In this 35 years of career, how many promotion you expect? 4 or 5. If you work in MNC, there are six from associate engineer to vice president level, and vice president is always one within the whole engineering. So if you see how many steps you get, 5 or 6. So if you want to become a manager within 3 years, what are you going to do? You are always going to be manager. So sometimes I also feel I'm also one of the factor, because as I say, I was also aggressive. So in LNT, I got 6 promotion sorry, I got 4 promotion in a 6 years. So then I realized, okay, I became manager in LNT, and throughout my tenure in Halliburton, I was always manager, nothing else. And then I became a director in Mcdermott, and I'm a director for last 5-7 years, and I will be director for next few years, because what else you can do? That will be next will be vice president, which it definitely once in so many thousands people. So don't uh, uh, things will fall in place. My definitely advice and a sincere request and a suggestion to all the young graduate who pass out from engineering. Engineering is an awesome field to have it. Engineering has a lot to do. I have huge respect about all those IT boom and everything that is going around right now. But I would also say that fundamental engineers has always been a demand, and that's how the engineers who brought us to the moon, us in the sense all Indians, to the moon, and we reached there because of engineering, not because of a fancy IT software. So again, I'm not against them, but fundamental remains that make sure that you gain your fundamental so that you can utilize that, and don't be in a rush. Uh, uh, Again, my favorite movie, Three Idiot, when the first lecture from principal said that life is a race. Life is not a race. Life is a journey, and it's a beautiful journey. So don't make it race. You are not here to compare your other. There is only one Harit in the world, and there is only one Omkar in the world. You should not compare yourself with anybody. Sometime you may end up that okay, we all are human. You may end up that okay, iska itna growth hai. You may see that people also ask me actually on a nicer note. They said you become a director. That's why you are telling me. We are still senior engineer or principal engineer. So yes, you may feel that it's easy to say for me because I reached at level, but it's not a level. It's something is like you do not compare yourself. You have certain skill you will always have in you, not with anybody else. So make sure that you are happy with what you have and do your best. One of the thing which I gifted my son when he was at the age of, I would say, 9 or 8 or 9, I said that don't be in a race of becoming engineer, doctor, CA, etc., etc. The only thing that you should focus on, be kind, because that will definitely differentiate you in this so-called race of life. If you are kind enough, automatically it will differentiate you and it will help you to sell yourself because that is required for your growth. So do your best. Don't compare yourself with somebody else, and whatever you do, you know, at least stick to that. Don't keep changing here and there and say one day I wanted to become a data science. Why? Because I get a good salary, and if I'm a mechanical engineer, I don't get a good salary. Who says that? No doubt about it. Come, come to oil and gas. I can tell you that mechanical engineer, process engineers are also get good salary, even sometimes far better than the software engineer salary. So it's not matter of salary. It's matter of whether you are able to make difference or not. And I always choose my role based on if I'm able to make a difference, if I'm able to contribute, I take that role. If something is all set, then what am I supposed to do? Then I am not keen to take that role.
काबिल बनो कामयाबी अपने आप आ
हाँ,
जाएगी.
obviously. Yeah, प्रोफेसर अंचो ने बोला हुआ था. So
What's your biggest regret in professional life?
no regret. Honestly, no regret. That's why I said that one of the incident which I already shared at that time, it was like, oh, why it is happening to me? But if I look back, because of that incident, my things have changed. So absolutely no regret in professional life because again, going back to the same thing, if you are enjoying what you are doing, then you will not have any regret. That reminds me another good how do I say explanation. So I'm not sure whether you or the person who all are listening they are aware about uh, a poetry's or kavi called Surinder Sharma. He gives char liner. He's very famous. He said char liner. And one day I was listening to him and he said that हम लोग मंदिर में जाते हैं पूजा करते हैं and we say that भगवान हमें ये दे दे भगवान हमें वो दे दे गाड़ी दे बंगला दे everything. But you don't understand that भगवान ने तुम्हें काम दिया है. God has given you this job or this role or this work. It is a way to be healthy and wealthy. बट काम को हम मंदिर नहीं मानते हैं पर मंदिर में जाके काम ढूंढते हैं. राइट के भगवान एक अच्छी जॉब दिला दे तो मैं इतनी आरती करूंगा. बट जो
Right.
जॉब मिलते हैं उसमें भगवान ढूंढना. Things will be better. I know it is not PK का dialogue or 3 years fight, but this is the reality, and this is what I can loudly say that अगर काम में भगवान मिल जाएगा You will never have regret, and you'll always enjoy on different part of or different challenges that you will get.
How was your first 2 3 years in your career?
Oh, I started as a PGET in L&T, and
Before
first
that,
two, three,
you worked with IIT for research something, no?
yes, yes. So I did. Okay, so when I was studying in engineering, let me also tell you this explanation. So when I was studying in engineering at the time, everybody wanted to become or go into MBA. That was a trend, back in 1997. So I thought that okay, everybody is going in MBA, and I feel that okay, I can present myself well, I can talk better. So MBA, I feel being a Gujarati that I know how to sell. So MBA में क्यों जाना है? So that's why I choose to go into the masters. I did not had my first attempt. I did not have my gate score, but it was again God luck and my probably a desire or a destiny that some or other way I got an opportunity to be a research associate in IIT Bombay, and then I moved went into the masters. So when I did my master at that time also, there was a trend on going into IT. So I was not sitting in any campus interview because if you were sitting in a campus interview for IT company, they ask for this typical question session कि चार इमेज होती है उसमें से कौन सी सही है कौन सी गलत है, एंड आई फील लाइक ओके ये क्वेश्चन आंसर पढ़ने के लिए मैंने मास्टर्स नहीं किया है. So I was waiting for only core company, and I applied for only two companies, L&T and Telco. I was not selected in telco. In the group discussion, we used to have written test, group discussion, personal interview, and a final interview. That's the process we used to follow. I was not selected in group discussion because my opinion was different than the chairperson. So it was very clear that when your opinion is similar with the chairperson, you will get selected.
Right.
But in interview in L&T, I was going with my full heart. It's okay, this is what I wanted to do it, and some or other way, with my friend who helped me a day before, doing some kind of preparation on adiabatic cycle, refrigeration cycle, and all those things. And you won't believe, next day I got questions all related to those things only. So I was like, okay, today is my day, and I started with it. But I started as a heat exchanger, as a process designer or a heat exchanger, and I started my first career, first role as STFS and STRI, which you definitely know.
Yes.
So those tool which I started, and I said this was new, but first few years, so I moved within 9 months. I said that I don't want to continue in Bombay. I wanted to move to Surat. So at that time also, when I went to the L&T HR manager, he said that are you crazy, people wants to come back from Surat to Bombay because Bombay is a headquarter, and you wanted to go from Bombay to Surat. And I say yeah, because I think I will have more enjoyment going back to my home land, I would say, or motherland. So that's where I moved back to Surat or Hazira in L&T. But those are all was very, I would say, very enjoying and very challenging and very joyful initial year. And if I look back now, when you ask me, is like at that day also I was doing, to best of my ability. So that way,
Mm.
it's really helped me. And every time, whether it's a fortunate or whether you consider it as a challenge, every time when I move from one role to another role, it's completely different. So when I moved from L&T Hazira, or sorry, L&T Powai, from Powai to Hazira, L&T Powai, I was doing STFS, STRI process design. And when I moved to Hazira, I started doing, pressure vessel finite element analysis. This has nothing to do with the
Yes.
thermal analysis or thermal masters that I did. So it was all different. and that's maybe one of the driver for me, because it gives me an opportunity to learn. I still remember that first FA analysis I did. I took so many months, and if I look back now, it was a wrong analysis. But yeah, it was a learning. It was a learning, and the part why it was long, because nobody was there. They put me as like, okay, we wanted to set something for FEA, and since you are in Hazira at that time, there was not many people from masters or IIT, and they said you have a master, so we wanted to give you this to start with. So it was a different ball game altogether. There was nobody who was telling me or guiding me. That's why when I look back now, it was a wrong analysis, but it was right at the time.
Right.
But it was a challenging, and it was a wonderful thing. I must say that the learning that I had in L&T is awesome, and the best ever so far. And that even now it helped me, whether it's learning about welding, learning about manufacturing technology, learning about transportation, learning about even the process technology within those refinery and petrochemical equipments. All those were awesome, and that helped me even now.
Right. Little bit different question this time. If you can call someone in emergency, that one person, whom do you call and why?
Oh, so when you say emergency call, so it's a different again. Remember, my thought process is we need to play as we get the ball. So what type of emergency you are? In either case, if I need to call the first person, then I always call my wife, who is my best buddy. So for any emergency, I always call her. If I and my wife are together and we need to call for any emergency, then I will definitely call my son, who is my best friend. If we all are together and say, okay, whom to call, then obviously my dad, to whom I will call first for any kind of emergency. That's about what type of emergency you have. But here I am living in Netherlands, and my one of my very close friend from my L&T days, he also stays in the same apartment. So for here, if the situation are here and if something needs to be, then I will definitely not call my dad who is in India, or not my son in India, but I'll call my friend here, who is always my, I say, the Sarthi, or the savior, I would say. Similarly, I also had a very nice friend, one friend in one of the friend, but one a very nice friend in London. So if any situation happen, then I always call him. Din Raat. Similarly, in Pune also, definitely if need to call, then we know, okay, whom to call. So I have many friends all around the world, but wherever I live, in that scenario, I said that you should have one person. I think I appreciate that you have a right question, that you should always have a one person in your
Hmm.
life at any moment of time who
You
can be
can.
your savior, who can be your
Yes.
sarthi.
Do you like your current role? A little more to add. Can you give some sneak peek about your current role?
Oh, my
Because
current role.
innovation plus knowledge management and then process team and engineering also.
So yeah, current role is kind
And
of in our
regarding
terms.
this, how do you manage your time to handle this lot of stuff?
So current role, you are right. You are right. And in this question, actually, few people within my company also ask. The current role is kind of a khichdi of many things.
Very
So
bearable
yeah,
ones.
it's eatable khichdi for sure, and tasty khichdi. So the simple thing is, before I took over this role, when I was having discussion with my wife, I we were having open discussion whether I should take it or not, because I know if I'll have little extra, then I need to compromise a little bit more on my family time, my personal time. So at that point, I said that what what makes me happy is people. I love to interact with people. I wanted to make or bring smile on people's face. So that's where, if that thing is driving me, then all roles are same. Whether you do manage the process engineer, or you drive innovation, or you manage all the technical authority who drives the knowledge management within organization. Because at this level, you are not going into a detail of whether this equation is right or this answer is right. You always empower your team. You always try to make sure that you are there as a savior whenever they are in trouble. If they are doing fantastic, then they need to go at front. And I, even in my team meeting, I give a presentation and I say that if you are going ahead and successfully delivering, then I'm at the back. If you are in a trouble, then I'm at the front. So that aspect, as I say, is, I would not say easy, but it's manageable for my this khichdi of different role, and that's how it become tasty. Because eventually you need to empower, let them do what they want to do, already guide them. If sometime you may feel that everybody should follow what you are suggesting, but it's not the scenario. If you look at back, everybody has different way of working. You just need to empower them, you just need to guide them and say, okay, why don't you go ahead and do this? Fine. If you have a trouble, don't worry, we will solve it. And that attitude actually I learned by doing a lot of my career in R&D or innovation. Because you need to learn about your failure. It's okay. No, failure is acceptable. Don't repeat your mistake, then it's a foolishness. But when you do any kind of a new development, there are chances of failure. In Halliburton, when we were doing a lot of testing of the tool that we designed, yeah, you may end up having failure. It's fine. Definitely, you need to improve on that. So that helps. That don't be afraid of failure. Whatever this Chichore movie explained, don't don't compare yourself and don't be afraid of failure. Failure also give a different opportunity. So
Yes.
that way, these are the small thing that I try to implement on a daily basis to make sure that my role is what they also enjoy with me, and I should also enjoy with them. So that part, I would say that definitely a helpful step for every one of us.
Correct. I have some question from freshers, from for which I need your opinion. If two freshers started the same uh, started the career in the same year in the same company, the one fresher stayed long in the same company, and other who started the switching the company and he switched frequently. So what are the advantages of being stable in one company and being flexible and getting out of comfort zone? What are the advantages and
So
disadvantages? Many of the
absolutely,
asking me the questions on LinkedIn and many other social media.
yeah,
So
I also saw a video on a LinkedIn where two young people or young student were at the
mm,
escalator, and one was going in up, and they said that switching a job, and one was already there who stays in this current role.
mm,
Uh, I think I don't believe in that, and to be honest and blunt, I don't believe in that approach. Coming back, that switching job gives that you are not satisfied in everything that you do. So I changed only two jobs, and that too also came on my way. And I said, okay, this is a different opportunity. So let me try it. If you consider my journey and say, even though I'm in the same company, but I keep changing my role because I'm ready to take the challenges. If you, it's not matter of changing a job. I think it's a change is essential. uh, Flowing water is always healthy than the stagnant water. So it's not matter of you change the company or you change the team, you change the location. It's matter of change is always required within the same company. If you get enough opportunity to change yourself, change your role, change your perspective, then no need to go for another one. If you find that okay, that is not happening, then the best thing is, why don't you discuss with your supervisor and say why it is not happening. whether
Hmm.
it's definitely a limited opportunity within the company, then you will come to know. Then there is no point in staying around. Otherwise, you will be stagnant. So not switching job. So sometime last week only, one of my team member came back to me saying that, oh, because you switched the job, that's why you get your salary increment. And I said that, sorry, you are talking to a wrong person. I would always prefer to give higher salary to the people who is more committed to the company rather than somebody is coming out of the different competitor or different field. The reason is whether that person has taken enough challenge or not. That is more important. If you are doing in the same thing again and again, I also keep telling people that doing same thing for 20 years is not your 20 years of experience. What different thing that you did in last 20 years, that's something you need to tell. So uh, don't be afraid about changing the role or changing the job. Don't be in that artificial or a wrong race that if I switch the job, then only I'll be making the money. It's not the scenario. Take it any company, whether it's an Indian company or MNC company, doesn't matter. You will always get better recognition within the same company as well. But you need to keep changing your responsibility. You need to keep expanding your horizontal. And remember the nature rule is flowing water is healthy, stagnant water is poisonous.
Right. Little personal question. What type of music do you listen? Any favorite artist from Bollywood or?
Oh yeah, of course. I mentioned as I'm a Bollywood guy, so I do listen Bollywood music from my childhood. When I was studying, even in my school, I used to have my radio transistor always on. I also got red-handed couple of times in my hostel because to play music was not allowed, and I without having the radio and without having the music, I'm not saying I can't read it, but my efficiency increase if I have the music next to me. So I I love romantic music. I love any type of music to be honest, but I want a catchy music. I enjoy music all over the places. Favorite singers or favorite, there are many, but obviously in current trend, uh, Arijit Singh is everybody's favorite.
Yes.
Sonu Nigam is also everybody's favorite. Uh, I have a huge respect for Lata Mangeshkar, but I love Asa Bhosle. So the variety of singing that Asa Bhosle brings, I think it's unique. Similarly, as I say, a lot of people like Shreya Ghoshal, but I love Sunidhi Chauhan. I love Alka Yagnik because they have lot of variety. And in a simple classic example, the same, Ek Do Tin song from the old days, my time, was sung by Alka Yagnik, and the new song was sung by Shreya Ghoshal. You see a difference.
Yes.
You will see the charm is different, and that's where I say I have definitely strong opinion about certain selection on the music, but in general, I love music. Even when there is a common trend here in UK as well as in Europe, when you go out in central London, if you go out, there are people who play their band because here it's not. You won't have a music in movies, so that's why they have bands. So, but wherever I happen to see some band is playing, I always listen to that because whether I understand the word or not doesn't matter. I enjoy the music.
Right. Every time that taste is different.
Yes, it's a different taste and it's a different music. And I wish that, with due respect to Anu Malik and due respect to Papilleri who passed away, but they really helped individual like me who doesn't listen to Hollywood music. But you need not have to because Anu Malik and Papilleri वो हॉलीवुड का कॉपी करके हिंदी म्यूजिक सॉन्ग बना ही देते हैं. So I'm okay with that.
Next one is tell me about the top decision that you made in initial years. Later, they help you immensely.
Oh, the first decision that I took uh, to move from L&T Bombay to L&T Hazira also helped me. The second decision that I took from L&T Hazira to go to US also helped me. So I'm not regret of any decision that I took. I definitely, as I say, uh, took all the decision with certain discussion and my first level discussion with my close friends and with my family. So I always get their input, always see what exactly uh, will help or did I miss anything, and then I took a decision. So all the decisions are always great and help me as an individual, as help me as a professional as well.
Next one on the team building. Tell me the best teams you work with and how they help you as a better leader to grow up as a better leader.
Best team. See, every team is best. Again, it's not a philosophical answer, but every team is best because it is a matter of how you. If there is a team, then it's the best. If it is not the best, that means there is no team. There
Hmm.
is a theory, right? Not forming, norming, performing team. So
Right,
if
right.
if 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 you have a team and that is delivering, that means it's the best team. They synchronize with anything. I also give an example, same with respect to your previous question. Music is noise. If as a team in the team building event, I always give an example of this music and noise. Is when you play all the instrument together. In my age or in my father's age, used to have a big band who play all the instrument together. If one of the instrument is going in out of rhythm, then that music become noise. So the moment this is music is a team, the moment you have a team, that means it's the best result. And I must say that I thank all the team members that I have worked with so far. Whether it's my team in my first team back in L&T and who are still my, as I say, close friend, to my current team right now in Mcdermott Hague, or my Halliburton team in Pune, who was about to dismantle and move from Halliburton India to Halliburton Singapore. All the team was awesome because they were team. If
Right.
if it was not a team, then it was definitely a question on my part that why I could not make a team. So every individual is best. It is just in a team. If you get the best out of every individual, then team become awesome. Otherwise, the noise will start.
Correct. Next one is if Harit Naik is not became a mechanical engineer, then what was your backup plan in 1990?
Oh, that's a golden question. But I'm not sure whether you will believe or not. But when I started uh, understanding, or when I started speaking, I would say at the age certain, from that day onwards, I wanted to become a mechanical engineer. And why? Because I did not know the mechanical at the time, but I was very much attached to my uncle, my mama, and my mama was a mechanical engineer. So my thing was I wanted to become like my mama. So I still have, he is no more, but I have huge love for my mama, and I am engineer because of him. And that's the reason he also came with me. So when in our Indian education system, you complete your 12th, and during my time, you need to appear in the Gujarat board and you apply for the different discipline of engineering. So before that, also my dad, my mama, my other uncle, and they were trying to say, considering your score, you don't want to go to medicine, this, that. I said, no, mechanical engineering. So my mama and my father They both came along with me at the time of my interview for this, engineering admission, and they were also trying to see because my mama has at that time started the pharmaceutical company. So he said that if you go to chemical engineering, I think it will be helpful for us even in future, etc., etc. And they were trying to indirectly convince me, but even while going inside the room also I put option, you know Ahmedabad Mechanical, Baroda Mechanical, Surat Mechanical. That's it. No fourth option. So I'm very much pleased and happy that I'm mechanical engineer. I'm very much extremely, how do I say, grateful that I'm an engineer. I I'm proud to be an engineer, and I love to be a mechanical engineer. I definitely respect all engineers, all other profession, but I am an engineer.
Correct. So on to the last question. Top three advices for young engineers to become on to get on a track.
Oh, I give so many
Correct.
advice, Omkar. What are the top
Top
three
three.
advice? They will say that rather than interview this person keeps giving preach. So the simple first advice: do not limit yourself. You are the best person in the world. You are only yourself. That's the first thing. You are Omkar and I am Harit. Do not compare to anybody. The second I could remember is, as I mentioned, that do what you like and love what you do. And the third part is, don't get stagnant. If I summarize, be flowing, keep changing the part. I'm not saying that change role, change job, change this. Keep changing yourself. Do not limit yourself within that fixed boundary. So here, don't be within your comfort zone. Let me refine this. Don't be within your comfort zone and come back to your original introduction that you gave about myself. So go beyond.
Right.
And if a person like me who had a dream to become a mechanical engineer, where he barely understand what is dream about, then it's if it is feasible, then definitely all of you also can do it. The famous quote from our Abdul Kalam, always everybody knows that dream is not something you see in the sleep, but it will not let you sleep. So uh, don't don't give up on that front. If your intention are right about your dream, it will 100% fulfill. वो another dialogue in Om Shanti Om, सिद्दत से जाओ तो पूरी कायनात तुम्हें पाने के लिए, because that if you see, that's actually it's a root of Bhagavad Gita, and based on that there is also very famous book is written about secret. You can search on Google. It's very famous book, Secret. Basically, it's the same concept which is there in Bhagavad Gita, and it says that uh, कर्म करो, फल तुम्हारे हाथ में नहीं है. इट्स नॉट दैट फल की चिंता मत करो. फल की चिंता सबको होती है. कर्म करो, दैट इज योर पार्ट. फल तुम्हारे हाथ में नहीं है. द मोमेंट यू कीप डूइंग दिस कर्म, इट ऑल विल फॉल. Because even in Bhagavad, while reading the Bhagavad Gita, I wrote another. I read actually another small story. It said that a small child was praying to the God, and I say all the time, if everything is you are going to decide, then why I should pray you? So the God nicely answered, because at many places I have written as you wish. Unless until
Hmm.
you wish, it's not going to be fulfilled. And unless until you wish, you won't do the work as per that. And unless until you do the work or do your karma, it's not going to get result. So
Correct.
it's all, if you look at it, it's a very simple philosophy. But if you try to complicate it, then उसी में उलझ जाओगे.
Correct. Uh, that's all, sir, from my side. Thank you for your time from busy schedule for this episode number 5 with engineering talks. Hope this episode will help a lot of engineering professional and students to get better every day.
Thank you, Omkar, and thank you for listening to me, and thank you for considering me. I hope even 1% of my whole story, if that make you smile, then it is definitely worth of my time and your time and energy and effort. So you are doing a great job, Omkar, by having this kind of engineering talk. So keep it up. Wish you all the best and have a lovely day ahead.